I was addicted to sleeping pills, to be honest with you. I started when I was like on Bloodsport, my first movie I was.
How does a man go from being one of Hollywood's highest-paid action stars to facing struggles that would break most people? Jean-Claude Van Damme was more than just an action hero. He was a symbol of raw power, charisma, and unshakable determination. From the streets of Brussels to the bright lights of Hollywood, he conquered everything. Fame brought him fortune, but it also led to addiction, legal battles, public humiliation, and the kind of loneliness that nearly destroyed him. Yet at his lowest, Van Damme found the strength to fight a new type of battle, not against opponents in the ring, but against his own demons. This is the story of how darkness consumed him and how he found the strength to rise again. Let's get started. The beginning. Jean-Claude wasn't born with a silver spoon in his mouth. Instead, he had to work his way up. And that wasn't an easy ride. Born on the 18th of October, 1960 in Brussels, Belgium, Jean-Claude came into this world with a physique no kid would ever want, a skinny, fragile body. His father, Eugene van Varenberg, was an accountant who also worked as a florist to support his family financially. When Jean-Claude was just 10 years old, his father understood the diminishing confidence and will of his little kid and pushed him into the Shotokan karate dojo. But joining the Shotokan was like an unbearable punishment for this little kid. It demanded grueling training, unwavering discipline, and a determination that wouldn't fade away at all. For Jean-Claude, what started as a punishment now became an escape from the weak mental mindset. Pouring every ounce of his being into the craft, Jean-Claude earned his first black belt and a spot on the Belgian national karate team. But karate wasn't going to define the potential Jean-Claude possessed. At 16, Van Damme started studying ballet, a dance form that requires the ultimate level of strength, flexibility, and control. This unique blend of Shotokan and ballet created the unique fighting style that would later mesmerize the whole world. By his late teens, Van Damme was Mr. Belgium in bodybuilding and also a European karate champion. That weak little kid had now become a statue of strength and boldness. But the arenas of Europe were too small for Jean-Claude's ambition. He had a new target in mind: Hollywood, the Hollywood gamble. In 1982, with merely $3,000 in his hand and a handful of English words at his disposal, Jean-Claude made the biggest gamble of his lifetime and moved to Los Angeles, a city that chews up dreamers and tests you to your core. Los Angeles welcomed Jean-Claude in the harshest way possible. His initial days were filled with hardships, starvation, and desperation. Even getting bread 2 times a day was a challenge for Jean. He laid out carpets, delivered pizzas, and worked as a bouncer. But this was just the beginning. Soon, the money dried out, and he found himself sleeping on the back seat of a beat-up car, surviving on scraps. When nothing worked out, Jean-Claude began using his charismatic physique as his calling card. His job as a bouncer landed him a meeting with the action legend Chuck Norris. It wasn't the biggest break of all, but it was something. The connection got him a foot in the door as a stuntman in Missing in Action. But for Hollywood, he was still nothing. He still needed a moment, that one big break opportunity to prove his worth to Hollywood and the rest of the world. And he didn't beg anyone for that. He created that moment himself, The Rise to the Top. Released in 1988, the film was shot on a tiny budget of just $1.5 million. But when it hit theaters, it became a surprise global success. Audiences had never seen anything like him, and suddenly, everyone started talking. Van Damme later admitted that when he saw the movie premiere, he cried because the little boy from Belgium had finally been noticed. From that moment onwards, he only got famous. His movie Kickboxer delivered one of the most iconic moments of martial arts in cinema. The hits came one after another: Lionheart, Double Impact, and Death Warrant. He wasn't just an action star, he was becoming a worldwide sensation. Then came Universal Soldier, where he was paired against Dolph Lundgren. That film grossed over $100 million, and with his movie Time Cop, he reached the peak of his career, crossing $100 million again and silencing critics who once mocked his accent. He wasn't just a martial artist anymore, he was a global superstar. But with every success came shadows. Van Damme confessed later, "I was working too much, flying from set to set, exhausted. I couldn't see my family's stardom had saved him, but it was also devouring him, the price of fame." Fame had given Van Damme everything he had wanted as a kid, but it was consuming what he had built. His first marriage to Maria Rodriguez had already collapsed under the weight of his ambition. Cynthia Derderian, his second wife, called life with him hell, saying he only loved himself. With Gladys Portuguese, his third wife, he found some stability. They had 2 children, Christopher and Bianca. For a while, it seemed like Van Damme had it all, but the relentless Hollywood schedule left him absent, and rumors of infidelity tore their bond apart. In 1992, their marriage ended, leaving wounds deeper than any kick he had thrown. Darcy Lapierre, his fourth wife, gave him a son, Nicholas. But that too collapsed amid accusations of affairs and volatility. Losing custody of Nicholas shattered him. Years later, Van Damme admitted, "Not seeing my son, it broke me." Van Damme had everything he wanted in his life, but now everything was slipping away from him. Fame was both a gift and a curse. Applause on one side, heartbreak on the other. The cracks in his personal life widened, and soon they would swallow him whole. The road to redemption. Doctors finally understood him. He was going through bipolar disorder. For years, he was swinging between manic highs and crushing lows. His drug addiction further worsened his condition, but with therapy, medication, and training, he began to rebuild. Karate, ballet, and bodybuilding, which were once tools of his fame, became tools for survival. He stumbled, he relapsed, but slowly, he rose again. Speaking openly about bipolar disorder, he shattered the myth of invincibility and broke the stigma for fans worldwide. In 2008, Jean-Claude Van Damme gave his rawest performance in the movie JCVD. In the film, he plays himself, not a superhero or fighter, but a broken man facing his real struggles. That 6-minute monologue left him in tears. Critics called it Oscar-worthy. It wasn't a comeback, it was resurrection. His performance in Universal Soldier, Regeneration, and The Expendables 2 proved he still had the power to inspire. And in his personal life, he returned to Gladys Portuguese. Their love, battered but unbroken, became his anchor once more. Step by step, Jean-Claude Van Damme rebuilt everything he had lost. Today, at 64, Jean-Claude Van Damme lives a quieter, wiser life. His net worth, around $40 million, is not just wealth, it's stability he once dreamed of while starving in a car. He owns homes in Los Angeles, Brussels, and Hong Kong. Each morning, he still trains. Martial arts is no longer about glory, but medicine for body and mind. Outro. Jean-Claude Van Damme's life is more than action scenes and box office numbers. It is a story of a fragile boy who became a legend, a hero who fell into darkness, and a man who rose again. And in the end, maybe the real question isn't how many fights he won on screen, but how many battles he conquered within himself. Which part of Van Damme's story did you enjoy the most? And what do you think was his greatest fight, on the screen or in real life? Drop your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed the video, smash that like button. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, and turn on the bell notification so you don't miss out on more amazing videos like this one. Until then, see ya.